How are we doing, guys? And welcome back to All Leeds TV. It's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Leeds United 1. Sheffield Wednesday win 3-0 on penalties. And the actual results and the fact we're out of the League Cup is the least of my worries with this. The least of my anger with this game tonight, because that was as bad a capitulation as Arsenal. I've made so many notes of things just to cover in that game tonight. That was as bad as Arsenal in terms of falling apart. Probably worse, actually, in the context of things. Like a character on the pitch, massively missing Ethan Ampadu, massively missing Altanaka's energy, massively missing Joe Rodon tonight. That is such a worry for me that 3 games into the season, we feel like we're lacking leadership. It really concerns me. I'm not talking about in terms of, vocally. I'm talking about with the ball, taking risks with the ball. More than anything, I'm not talking necessarily about vocally. I'm talking about taking risks with the ball. If we're going to stay up this season, we're going to have to take risks in terms of recruitment, in terms of tactically, in terms of players making risky decisions on the pitch. We're going to have to take risks because if we play it safe, we'll end up the way the last 6 teams that have gone into this level have, going down. We have to take risks this season. What we did well against Everton is we did take risks. We played on the front foot. We played with enthusiasm, energy in the press, everything we wanted to see. Since Arsenal, and listen, I know it's only 2 games. I know Everton was only a week ago, but a week is a long time in football, both in a good way and a bad way. But in this case, it's in a bad way because that tonight, as well as Arsenal, was utterly embarrassing from minute 1 to 90. Utterly embarrassing. There is no other word for that tonight. Okay? In the context of where we were at, we changed 9 of the 10 outfielders. We had no energy. How have we not got any energy on the pitch when we've made loads of changes? Players that didn't play well against Arsenal are under no pressure because no one that played tonight has put any of those players under pressure for me. Maybe Yacobiol will probably come in. I didn't think Yacobiol did much wrong, actually, to be fair, tonight. But again, if you're looking in terms of out wide and the midfield, no one's given the case to be starting against Newcastle. I'm not saying they won't start against Newcastle, some of these players, but they're not given a strong case. That's what I find particularly unforgivable. Against a Sheffield Wednesday B team at best, let's be honest, no disrespect to Sheffield Wednesday, it was a B team at best. 0 home advantage because obviously they're in the middle of a protest, and best of luck to Sheffield Wednesday with that, rivalries aside. It was, I can't believe how bad it was. I know in the Cup, results happen, and it's not the result. It's the actual context of what's happened and what we've actually seen over 90 minutes tonight. And the penalty shootout was a perfect summary of the game for us tonight. And Sunderland have got beat tonight. Stoke got absolutely hammered by Bradford City at home tonight. There'll be other shocks in this competition, probably next 2 days or so. In the next rounds, there will be shocks. Last season, we got hammered by Middlesbrough at home. It happens. But the actual context of what we produced tonight was so bad. We ran out of ideas. First half, our ideas was basically pass the ball to Noah Okafor and hope for the best. To be fair, Noah Okafor at times showed a little bit of sharpness, but it's not enough. He didn't show enough over 90 minutes or however long he played. It was 70, 75 minutes to really make a case for starting against Newcastle. And he probably will start against Newcastle or have a good chance of starting against Newcastle because no one else out wide has made any case to be starting against Newcastle. This is where the concern is for me. How many players going into Newcastle are playing well? Have played remotely well in the last 2 games. It's all about the response now. And listen, this might sound like an exaggeration. I understand. And people might be clicking off the video before we've even said what I'm about to say. But the Premier League waits for no one. I am one who tends to stay calm. Everyone knows this. Everyone's been watching this channel for a long time. They know. You guys know. I'm not one to panic. But the Premier League waits for no one. The Premier League is a ruthless league. If you want to stay in the Premier League now, you've got to be spot on. You've got to be spot on. As a newly promoted Championship club, everything's got to be spot on or near enough spot on. Is it at the moment for us? No, it's not. We scored 1 goal from open play in the first 3 games. 1 goal. Our right back, Jayden Bogle. Jayden Bogle, to be fair, absolutely showed character tonight and actually got us back into the game. Not just so much just with the goal, just in terms of the character he showed, getting us up the pitch, linking things together. He made things happen on the night. He took risks from right back that players much further up the pitch didn't do. Didn't take the risks tonight. That's what I find really unforgivable. It felt like players were just playing it safe and were afraid to make mistakes. I struggle with that. I really do struggle with that. So early in the season, in a game that doesn't really matter massively. Let's be honest, it doesn't really matter. But if we're panicking now, what's it going to be like in May if we're going to be trying to stay in this league? You know, when it comes to you've got to win or you go down, or you've got to get a point there and or you go down. That's where my issue is here. You know, that is where my issue is in this situation we're in. We have to wake up. We seriously have to wake up because as much as that Everton win was great, let's be honest with ourselves here. Be totally honest with ourselves here. If Everton, have a look at the team Everton started against Brighton, okay? If Everton has started that team against us on the Monday, would we have won that game? Be totally honest. Be totally honest. Let us know in the comments as well. My answer is no, okay? Jack Grealish, fully fit, playing on the left wing. A natural right back, a natural left back. Tiano Barry up front rather than Beto. A natural right winger on the pitch. Everton, if you look at the team they played against us, and they're not, listen, we played well in that game. No question about that. We played well in that game. But it certainly was not a full-strength Everton team. I can't look at that and say, oh, we're beating a really solid Premier League side there in that game. We haven't done, really. Yeah, if you look at pre-season as well, I've just mentioned about the lack of goals. If you include Villarreal, Man United, AC Milan, the actual competitive matches in pre-season, we score 3 from 6 in open play. It's not enough. It really isn't enough. And listen, I think defensively, as much as we did have a horrendous time against Arsenal, I think when Yacobiol comes in, fully settled, we get that midfield free back together again with Ampadu and Tanaka, which is a massive blow, by the way, both being out at the same time. That's going to really expose the midfield. I think we can keep clean sheets. I think we can, keep the goals against to 1 or 2 most games and give ourselves a chance to win games or get something from games. But if you're scoring 3 from 6, you're giving yourself no chance. And I've not really seen any signs to make me think that suddenly it's going to massively improve. Listen, Dominic Calvert-Lewin could be a very solid signing for us. I was somewhat encouraged by his movement in terms of getting on the end of things, but you've got to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. And to be fair, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it's clear to me, I think he's a good player, but massively lacking in confidence in front of goal. No Okafor, I think he's a good player, but massively lacking confidence from his time at AC Milan. These are players that can be good for us, so I'm not going to have a go at the signings as much as could probably be tempting to after, obviously, this game today. But the players that are not going to make an impact straight away at this moment in time, I think can make an impact this season, but not make an impact straight away, which is what we kind of need. I still think we need at least one more player in that final third, probably on the right-hand side, because at the minute, it's Dan James and Wilfred Gnonto, who I think is better on the left than he is on the right. We need more options on the right as well. We need more depth on that right-hand side. Ideally, another number 10 as well. Well, I say another number 10, a number 10. We need other options in this team at this moment in time. I think the recruitment in terms of the defensive areas and midfield is good. We've seen an impact already from Goodmanson, Anton Stark. Yacobiol looks solid in pre-season. I think he'll look solid once he's fully match fit. I like what we've done in the midfield and defence. I just look at the forward areas and think we still need 1 or 2 more. As much as Okafor, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Metcha, I like the look of Metcha as well. We still need that little bit more. It feels like sort of 7.5 out of 10 players when we probably need an 8 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10 who's going to really propel us in terms of in the attacking areas and really make a difference. I don't want to say his name because it's going to be incredibly difficult to get anyone close to this quality, but that Rafinha factor. And I'm not saying it has to be someone at the level of Rafinha because that is totally, totally unrealistic to repeat that success. But someone who can give you that kind of personality, those kind of qualities in terms of being able to carry the ball 20, 25 yards and making things happen, being able to score from 20 yards out, these kind of things that magic X factor that we're lacking at this moment in time, massively lacking at this moment in time. And if you look at this moment in time, for me, we have 5 days to save our season. Okay, it's too late waiting in January. If we haven't got the attacking depth to really improve this goal scoring that we're lacking at this moment in time, it's going to be too late in January. The Premier League, as I say, waits for no one. The last couple of teams that got promoted have found this out. And as I say, I think we've done 80 to 90% of the job, but it's that next sort of 10 or 20% in terms of the next couple of signings, hopefully, I say signings, that are going to be so crucial for this season. That is what's going to decide whether this transfer window has been a success or whether we're built to be a success for the rest of the season. And this is not down to the individuals either. I don't like the idea of, in terms of blame being put on Farke solely, blame being put on individual players solely in terms of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, blame being put solely on recruitment, etc., etc. You don't produce what we produced over the last 2 games and one thing be at fault. There's several different things at fault. That is my view on things. And I do believe we can sort this out. I believe in terms of the recruitment under the 49ers has been fantastic in terms of over the last 2 years. And I think so far this season, but we still need more. We still need more. I think we still need a little more character, maybe a little bit more experience at this level. I can almost see people rolling their eyes at that sort of word, Premier League experience. But I think maybe, as much as I don't like to admit it, we probably do need a little bit more of that as well. But let us know what you think in the comments here, guys. Am I overreacting here? I'm just kind of thinking out loud of a lot of this. I have made notes, but a lot of different things are coming into my head at this moment in time. And I do think some of these players need time. As I've said, Okafor, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they clearly need time. They really do. But have we got time? That's the other thing we have to look at. Have we got time? Do we need someone else to come in? Yes, we absolutely do. On that right-hand side, someone else to come in. Because ultimately in this front three, at this moment in time, I keep saying about the lack of goals. I'm not really seeing a player at this moment in time who's going to get 10 or 15 goals for us this season. I think the goals are going to have to be shared out in the front three. So we need more goal-scoring options in that front three. No question about it. Yeah, and you look at the depth in terms of the defensive and midfield areas, there's a big drop-off, in terms of from Tanaka and Stack. And of course, there'd always be a drop-off, but it feels too big, that drop-off to me. The drop-off from Joe Rodon and Jakob Biol to the other centre-backs feels too big for me. And Pascal Straub to an extent. The drop-off from Jaden Bogle and Gabriel Goodmanson to the other full-back options feels too big for me. So it has to be a wake-up call, this. And listen, I said towards the start of this video, a week is a long time in football, both good and bad. Today, we're seeing the bad side of it. But if we get the recruitment right, 2 or 3 signings, addressing depth in certain areas and just adding pure quality in the attacking areas, we can still stay up this season. I say it like we can still stay up. We're on the 26th of August. Why am I feeling so negative, guys? Why am I feeling so negative? At the minute, we're quite reliant on Jakob Strand-Larsen and Johan Visser leaving Brentford and Wolves, but we don't need to be reliant on other teams. We don't have to be worrying about other teams if we sort our own sort of gaps out as well. And they're talking about literally 2 or 3 players here. It feels like I'm talking about us replacing a whole starting 11. I'm not. It's 2 or 3 players just to be the catalyst to getting that bit more magic in the final third, a bit more confidence in the final third, more risk-taking, more character, more personality, more everything, just more excitement. It was tough to watch that today. It's been tough to watch us going forward the last 3 weeks. In terms of we have created opportunities, but it just feels so unsure and so, I don't know. Other players are relying on other players to step up. It just feels to me like that is the case. No one's really taking games by the scruff of the neck. Maybe Anton Stack to an extent against Everton, but again, I'm talking about creativity here in terms of goals and assists. It doesn't feel like players are doing that at this moment in time. And it is going to be tough, the next 5 days, but it's going to be critical. It's going to be critical. As I say, the 49ers, the recruitment has been fantastic, I think, over the last 2 years. We've had to replace some really, really good players at this football club, and we've done it really well. I think the defence, midfield, we've brought in. It's good, but it still just needs 2 or 3 more. And we have to get that 2 or 3 more. Tactically, I feel we need to play more on the front foot in terms of in games like this. We need to play more vertically, getting the ball forward quicker. And we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Feel quite negative. I feel quite negative. Maybe because it's the second time I filmed this one tonight. I don't know. Let us know, guys. What do you think? Have I overreacted tonight? I don't think I have. As I say, the Premier League is ruthless. We heard all these things about it's going to take time to gel. We have to be patient. We can't overreact. We heard all this stuff from 2021 to 2023. The Premier League is unforgiving, and we can't afford to leave gaps because the gaps will be found out. If we lack goals, that will be found out at Premier League level. But we'll see, guys, anyway. Big thanks for watching. I've been Oscar on the rant, and we will leave it there. Cheers for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and like button, and we'll be back, hopefully in more positive times for Newcastle, because we need a game to come up as soon as possible just to get over this last two. Cheers for watching, guys. See you later.